This is Shockwave News. You can find me online at shockwavenews.net and, of course, Spreaker.com/Shockwave News. And right here on Anchor, that's anchor.fm/Shockwave News. And on Twitter, as always, Shockwave News 1. Okay, like, share, subscribe if you like this podcast, folks. Okay, let's get right into the news here. Okay. Today's news article is from naturalnews.com. That's naturalnews.com. And today's headlines, dated Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. Dr. Fauci warns against dining out, playing sports, going to school and church, but refuses to condemn protesters' violent mass gatherings. That's right, the Dr. Fauci. That does lead the National Institute of Health, NIH, and also he's part of the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, or NSAID. And he was the former head and the face of the coronavirus task force. Dr. Fauci has not only become the media darling for magazines and interviews of self-congratulation, but he's also made some detailed suggestions that has convinced people to live in perpetual fear, paranoia, succumbing to hypochondriac living, and germophobia. Okay, but when it comes to thousands of people gathering in protest of left-wing causes, rioting, looting, mass destruction, arson, everything like that, even sometimes people get killed and murdered, okay? Fauci, when asked about millions who gather for destructive left-wing causes, Fauci refuses to condemn mass gatherings, dodging the most important question of all. So, as we know, Dr. Fauci, he always goes on, he always brags whenever he does any type of testimony to kind of pat himself on the back. He's been there through 5 administrations. That's right, at least 5 presidential administrations. He's been head of the National Institute of Health, and then also the head of the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Disease. Dr. Fauci is a interesting fella. Pretends that he cares and everything that goes on, but in actuality, Dr. Fauci is bought and paid for, folks. Dr. Fauci has been given money by the Bill Gates Foundation. They've funded him millions of dollars. He's also had money given to him to give to China. He's given China money, actually, through the various foundations and donations and different things like that through private donors in order to keep the Wuhan virus lab in Wuhan, China, to keep that going. He has consistently worked with that lab back and forth, and that's the thing. There's a lot of things to know about Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, again, is bought and paid for. Dr. Fauci is an expert in his field. He's very, very, very good. However, he does have an evil side, and his evil side now being bought and paid for by Bill Gates and company and George Soros and everybody else through the unseen, untold, and hidden channels George Soros uses to try and to push this fake coronavirus and try to depopulate the world. The elite, if you will, or the people that really, really behind the scenes run the world, we have a president that tries to do good and tries to do good by the American people sometimes or most of the time, and we have people, elites, that are much higher up the food chain than even President Trump, okay? There are people that run the world secretly. Yes, there's secret organizations, Skull and Bones, Illuminati, you can say whatever you want, Freemasons, I can go on and on and on. Bohemian Grove, it just gets crazy. The Rothschilds, I mean, these groups and organizations and bloodlines, these are the people that have the money, have the power, control everything and everybody, and where Dr. Fauci comes in being an expert in his field. Good Lord, he's been in the field 50 years almost. So, of course, he's been through 5 presidencies. That ought to tell you something right there. He's held that position. He's held that position for a long, long, long period of time. And so Dr. Fauci, through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and through, again, secret donors, third-party donors, has come out with this crap that, it's not okay to go to church, which that's infringing against my constitutional rights. It's not okay to go out to eat. It's not okay to go to school. It's not okay to watch sports and participate in sports, but it's okay to riot. It's okay to loot, according to Dr. Fauci. He won't condemn again because Dr. Fauci, let's not forget, when Obama was in office, I believe it was in 2015, Dr. Fauci won a medal, and I think a congressional medal or award, I do believe. I forget, one or the other. But he did win one, and that's online. That's on YouTube. Obama awarding him and putting that medal around Dr. Fauci's neck. And again, they're all in, as I like to say, they're all in bed together. I say that on my other podcast, okay? Meaning they all know, they all got a role to play. His role to play is to scare the hell out of people. And because he is a doctor and a scientist, PhD obviously, and his job is to scare people. And now you sit back and you tell me, folks, if you're going to a large mass event and somebody says, no, you can't go there, you have to wear a mask, but you're outside, you're on top of each other, you're bumping into each other, you're throwing bricks at buildings, you're setting fire, you're pushing, you're shoving, you're running around, that's okay. But it's not okay to go to church and worship God. Now, are you starting to see a little bit of the hypocrisy? I'm starting to see a lot of the friggin' hypocrisy there. Again, he's bought and paid for by Bill and Melinda Gates and the Gates Foundation. They keep giving them that money, that millions and millions, hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. They keep funneling that, again, through third-party channels to make it look like that Bill and Melinda Gates are innocent all the time, and Dr. Fauci's more than happy to take the money. Same with Deborah Birx, Dr. Birx. She's the same way. She works for Fauci, and they work together, and so it's the same damn thing. They're both in it together. They're both playing the damn game, and they know what's going on. And what's going on is treasonous. What's going on is terrible, and they both should be fired and arrested. I mean, that's just my take. Okay, let's go back to the article. I want to finish up here. At one time, Dr. Fauci has suggested that Americans should not dine out, nor should they go to church, and should be weary of letting their kids return to school. He also warned that dating, sports, handshaking, even suggested that Americans wear goggles and face masks in public to block any exposure of viruses and mucous membranes. His advice has led to the most corrupted, inconsistent shutdowns and restrictions on liberty our country's ever seen. So this piece of work here, again, if we were back in the 18 or 1700s, he would be found guilty in a court, and he would be taken out, and they hang by the neck until they're dead, or else shot in a firing squad. I take that back. In the Revolutionary War, different things like that, they might shoot them in the firing squad, or else just hang them, save the bullets, and just hang them. But again, somebody perpetrating, and because he was appointed in a position in Trump's cabinet on the task force, coronavirus task force, appointed by President Trump, this piece of, he's advised millions and millions of Americans to just basically sit inside and shut up and be careful and be scared and be hypochondriac, be crazy, go nuts and insane, germophobia, the whole 9 yards, be afraid to even come outside and wave and say hi to your neighbors. Because this piece of work, him and Dr. Birx as well, Dr. Deborah Birx. So it depends on if there's enough people that will listen to him, and the answer is yes. I'm in Central Florida, and I see it all the time down here in Central Florida. You can't even go to a Walmart, and now they have it, the local Walmart, which is barely not even a block away. I just have to drive, a couple hundred yards, and I'm there, basically, to the Walmart, the local neighborhood grocery store Walmart. They have a guard out there, folks. They have a guard standing out there, and if you don't wear a mask, hey, put your mask on. And it's like they're trying to enforce these unconstitutional rules and laws. Somebody will say, well, that's what the state mandates. Well, it doesn't matter what the state is. The state is not the state. See, I hate having to do this, but I have to explain this. Okay, just like in Congress and in the United States Congress, before they pass a national law, national means for all 50 states in the United States, it has to go through the House, and it has to go through the Senate, and then they go back and forth, and then they might have committees and subcommittees that debate these issues, and they go back and forth, and basically they debate. I want to say they argue, but they debate back and forth or argue. And then finally, when they get it done, the Senate will pass that on once that they're satisfied and they made significant changes to the bill, whatever the bill might be, and then that bill goes to the president to get signed. Okay, it's similar like that in this state, just like I'll take for the state of Florida. We have a House of Representatives for the state of Florida and all the congressional districts down here in the state of Florida. And what they'll do is they'll debate, they'll bring a bill to the floor, and then they'll go and they'll vote on the bill. They'll bring a bill up, they'll vote on the bill, and then once the bill passes the lower chamber, the House, then it's going to go to the Senate, the same process. The Senate will debate, and again, a majority of the government down here in the state of Florida is conservative, so they are Republican. So they'll debate it, and the same thing. And then once they debate it between the two houses and committees, subcommittees, argue it out, rant and rave, yell and scream. Once they decide whatever the heck, and they can settle on something, a compromise, and that's what they have to learn to do. They have to compromise both sides, left and right, Democrat and Republican. Then they'll pass the bill on to Governor DeSantis. And once Governor DeSantis signs the bill, depends on how it's written, he'll sign the bill, review it, and then sign it, just like the president would, same thing, or his aides will read it and summarize it, and then the president will sign it. Same thing with Governor DeSantis. Once he signs the bill, then the bill goes into law. And that is how the long and the short of it, and I know I'm skipping around, but the long and the short of it about how bills become passed and become laws. It just boggles my mind that you have somebody like Dr. Fauci. He was at I believe it was a Washington Senators game, a baseball game there in Washington, D.C., and he had his baseball hat, and Dr. Fauci, again, throughout the first pitch, it was disaster. He couldn't even he might as well just rolled the ball to the catcher. He couldn't even make it there. It was just such a pathetic throw. But he's there. He had a mask on at first, then he took the mask off when he's sitting in the bleachers of the baseball game. And he's sitting on top of, there is I believe there's another woman and there's another man sitting with him. I don't know if it was son and daughter or whoever it was, but anyhow, there was two other people sitting with him right side by side with Dr. Fauci. Okay? So that is the hypocrisy that the left always goes through, that the left constantly don't do what I say, or don't do what I do what I say, rather. That is the hypocrisy that constantly goes on with these people on the left. It is non-ending, non-stop, and Dr. Fauci is part of that game. And Dr. Fauci needed to be fired, and I'm glad Trump relieved him of duty, and he needed to be fired, and he needed to he needs to take a hike. Like I said, he just needs to go in retirement or else lock him up. He's done a devastating damage to the United States financially. Small business and even some large businesses here in the United States can't recover because of this nonsensical bunch of BS that Dr. Fauci has agreed and went along with the charade as all part of the big game plan with the coronavirus. Oh, you're coronavirus, you have to shut down. Oh, it's coronavirus. Oh, it's coronavirus. Well, let me tell you, more people die, folks, of the flu than the coronavirus, okay? The coronavirus is 0.1%. A kill ratio, or people that died. I shouldn't say kill ratio, but that's what it is, or death rate. The flu is like almost 2.0, okay? The flu is much, much, much more intense, and people die worldwide of the flu. And I'm talking about people that have respiratory problems, people that are seniors, people that have different, or should I say, that they don't have different, they have poor immune systems. That's exactly how people die of the flu. They just have a weak immune system. That's the bottom line. And there's only so much you can do. A person can only do so much. And so because of that, people do die every year, millions of people, and nobody's panicking. 155,000, 160,000 people dead now, and this is a global crisis. Well, if that doesn't stink to high heaven, I don't know what is. If you can't see the writing on the wall, and this is a big bunch of BS here, folks, I don't know what to tell you. There's no hope left for you if you can't see the writing on the wall, and this stinks, and this is a bunch of bullshit. Excuse my language, it is. It's bullshit, absolutely. Okay, this is Shockwave News Live. You can find me online at shockwavenews.net, and then, of course, Spreaker.com/Shockwave News, and on Anchor, that's anchor.fm, anchor.fm/Shockwave News, and last but not least, twitter.com/Shockwave News 1. Like, share, subscribe if you like this podcast. Okay, folks, I am out of here. Stay safe, stay cool, and God bless.